Because when you start saying it, the first thing that will happen in 10, 15 days.
Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. ओम सदाशिव समारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमां अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरु परंपरां समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं. ओम श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः. नमः श्री शंकरानंद गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलास महामोह ग्राहग्रासैक कर्मणे. हरि ओम. These verses from 71 onwards in Tripti Dipa, the chapter 7 of Panchadashi by Swami Vidyaranya, is a reflection on the Mahavakya Tattvamasi. Many Mahavakyas are there. This reflection is taken from Vakya Vrittis, verses 44, 45, 46, 47, 38, 39, 40 and 41. So these are the verses in the Mahavakya reflection. Alambanataya bhati yosmat pratyaya shabdayoho antakarana sambhinna bodhasat tvam padabhidaham. Alambanataya, it's a support, an object. It shines as an object. It shines as a support. What is it? Yaha asmat pratyaya shabdayoho. That which is that word I and the experience of the word I. The feeling of I and the word I. Alambana. It is holding on to that. Antakarana sambhinna bodhaha. This consciousness which is as though conditioned by the mind and the intellect. Consciousness which is awareness different from the mind and intellect. Saha tvam padabhidaha, that which is denoted by the term thou. Thou is the object of the word I. The word I, the object is thou and its experience too. In that thou art, thou denotes consciousness which is conditioned by the individual mind and intellect and which shines as the object, support of the word I and the experience of the word I. So when I say I, suppose somebody is calling, hey, you come here. You call me. We don't say he also calls himself as I. Somebody else calls themselves as I. The word is I, but the experience of I is me, this person. So that is the experience of I. The word I, which is common to everybody, but the experience I is common to this person only. It is not common to everybody. When I say I am coming, we are not saying everybody is coming along with us. So what is thou? This I is consciousness, and this consciousness is reflected in the intellect and the mind. That is called thou. The I is this consciousness, and the thou, that thou art. That thou is the mind and the intellect. Abhida vritti, a simple sentence wherein the literal meaning alone is to be understood. Like Sri Rama goes to the forest. That's a direct meaning. Now, implied meaning is Lakshana Vritti. The implied meaning is different, contradictory, or more than the literal meaning. Example, all that glitters is not gold also implies many other things. That looks can be deceptive, beauty is only skin deep, do not get carried away by the cover or the glamour. Then somebody says he flew first class. It doesn't mean that this person is flying and is flying excellently, like somebody swims excellently. No, he flew in first class flight. It doesn't mean also that he is a Spider-Man or he is a Hanuman who flew across the ocean. He flew in a plane and he traveled in first class in the plane. It doesn't also mean that he flew in a plane which was first class. No, he traveled in the first class enclosure in the plane. The literal and implied meanings are untenable and they are rejected as nonsensical and meaningless. The judge asked the policeman, this is a nice joke that Guruji says here, why he thought the man was drunk. This policeman said, this man told the taxi driver to shut up. Judge is asking, what is the connection between him telling the taxi driver to shut up and he being drunk? The policeman said there was no taxi driver. And that is so the sentence was meaningless and it proved that he was drunk. In the Mahavakya, that thou art, the literal meaning is contradictory, which means that consciousness, that Ishvara, that Bhagavan, who is Sarva Shakti, Sarva Jnana, Sarva Vairagya, Sarva Dharma, Sarva Aishwarya, he is very powerful, is you, who is Alpa Shakti, Alpa Buddhi, Alpa Yukti, everything is small. For that Ishvara, everything is big. That is this, that is the, it is contradictory. How can that infinite God be me, the finite being? What is the literal meaning of Tvam or you in the statement that infinite truth, thou, you are? So what is the meaning of this you here? The reflection of consciousness in the intellect and identified with the body is what all of us consider as I. When you say I am coming, we are referring to the reflection of consciousness identified with the intellect, the mind and the body. The explanation of Purusha or individuality is already given earlier in the verses. With this individuality is associated finitude. The individuality of the reflection of consciousness identifying with the mind and body is finite, alpa, alpata, finite knowledge, alpajna, finite strength, power and abilities, alpa shaktiman, finite form, alpa vyapi, the experience of many, incomplete or hollow within, the experience of many others. I think I am the doer of actions, karta, enjoyer of results, bhokta. I travel through lifetimes in different bodies, in different realms of experience. Iha loka, paraloka gami. I live in this world, I go to the next world, I come back to this world. We are talking in terms of movement and change all the time. The next verse gives us a literal meaning of that in the sentence, that thou art, that supreme, thou, you. Earlier we saw the meaning of thou, that supreme. Mayopadhir jagad yonihi sarvajñatvadi lakshanaha paroksha shabala satyat satyadhyatmakas tatpadabhidah maya upadhihi, one who has primal ignorance or at any time, I don't know. So far, I have not known who I am. That is the upadhi as a conditioning instrument. This consciousness is identified with this Maya upadhi or identified with the thought that I don't know. Jagat Yonihi. This I don't know thought is the cause for this world. From this I don't know thought only the world has sprung. And this person who thinks I don't know, what is his nature? Sarvajñatvadi lakshanaha. Sarvajñatva. He has a quality such as omniscience, knowing everything in this universe. Parokshya Shabalaha, at the moment associated with the idea of remoteness, which can be known indirectly. Paroksha, only indirectly it can be known, presently. Satyadi Atmakaha, the nature of truth, existence. Tat Pada Abhidaha, that which indicated by the word that or tat. And the Tvam refers to the reflection of consciousness in the intellect identified with the mind and body. That is Tvam. Tat is that supreme consciousness truth which is infinite, associated with the Maya Upadhi or the conditioning of primeval ignorance. The nature of Tamas. Tamas is its conditioning. Tamas is its accoutrement or the outer equipment that God wears. He is therefore omniscient, Sarvajna, omnipotent, Sarvashaktiman, all-pervading, Sarvavyapi, all forms, Sarvarupa, all qualities, Sarvaguna the cause of all, Sarva Karana. He presides over all actions, Karma Adhyaksha, and is a giver of results, Karma Phala Data. Consciousness plus individual conditioning, that is a body, mind, and intellect, is equal to individual jiva. Consciousness plus total conditioning is equal to God. Consciousness plus individual conditioning, body, mind, and intellect is jiva. Consciousness plus total conditioning or prana or Ishvara is God. The literal meaning of that thou art is untenable, says the next verse. Pratyak parokshataikasya sadvitiyatva purnatam virudhyete yatastasmal lakshana sampravartate. Pratyak parokshata, being immediately, pratyak, directly. Immediate means between me and the next. Immediately, directly known by me, ekasya, or one and the same thing, sad dvitiyatva purnata, this existence without a second, an absolute oneness, virudhyate, are contradictory, yataha, since, tasmat, therefore, lakshana, the method of implication, sampravartate. This method of implication is adopted for making it tenable. The qualities of being immediately and immediately known, immediately means from outside, immediately means directly, and those of existence with a second and absolute oneness, with existence with a second means there is a dual for the existence, and oneness is absolute, there is only one. This is contradictory for one and the same thing. The method of implication is adopted here. What is the method of implication? I, the individuality, is always experienced within. I experience this I within me. Aparoksha. When do I experience it? Right here and now, and never outside or far away from me. There and then, but here and now. Whenever we refer to God, we indicate about God as above, far away, behind, ancient. So many ways we tell about God, other than right now in the present. Paroksha. We even pray to Him, thinking of Him to be different from us, and ask, are you listening? How much I am troubling? How much I am suffering? You don't even know how I feel. Can you not do something about it? Can you not protect me? Will you just leave me like this? We ask God. There are millions of beings in this world, and each is an individual with the notion of I, whereas God is one, Advitiya. Everybody has the individual idea of I. Some people say I as name, some people will say physical fitness, some people will talk about mind, some people will talk about intellect, some people will talk about hunger and thirst, some people will talk about relationships, the roles they play, each individual with the notion of I, whereas God is only one, Advitiya. There is no dual. How can the many individuals be that one God? To understand this apparent contradiction, the Upanishads are not needed. We know it for ourselves. Upanishads talk of that which is beyond the scope of senses of mind. We can understand this with our senses and mind, the differences and dualities. The impossibility of the literal meaning does not make the sentence irrelevant. That is, the literal meaning is not that supreme truth you are. It is impossible. But still that thou art sentence does not become irrelevant because of that. Its implied meaning is now to be understood. So what is the implied meaning? In the right context, understanding the sentence. Shvetaketu, when he asked his father to teach him the absolute truth, knowing which everything becomes known, the question here is not about the omniscient, omnipotent God who's the creator of the world, but the question is about that self, who I am. And he says, Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. The differences between individual and God are only from the standpoint of conditionings. In essence, they are only one. The nose ring is different from the gold block. From the gold block, a piece of gold is taken, the nose ring or the finger ring is made. But the gold and the gold block are one and the same. In the same way, this jiva is a part of that Ishvara, but still in essence they are both one and the same. The essential and absolute oneness of the individual and God is established in the next verse. Tattvamasyadi vakyeshu lakshanam bhaga lakshanam soyamityadi vakyastha padayoriva naparam tattvamasi adi vakyeshu. You have many mahavakyas or great sentences. What is the Mahavakya? A Mahavakya is a great sentence because it integrates or brings about an identification with that supreme truth and the individual self. The Jiva and the Brahma are one. Only when a statement says that it is a Mahavakya. If the statement talks of the glory of Ishvara, it is not Mahavakya. If the statement talks only about the suffering of the Jiva, it is not a Mahavakya. If the statement says this Jiva is that Ishvara, then it becomes a Mahavakya. Tattvamasi is a Mahavakya. It's a great sentence. Sentences like Tattvamasi. What are the other sentences? Aham Brahmasmi. I am Atma Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma. Lakshana. Bhaga Lakshana. The method of knowing the implied meaning is by partial elimination of the meaning. Saha ayam ityadi vakyastha padayoho. In the terms of the meaning of the terms, Saha ayam. That person you saw in 1962 as a small boy playing cricket in the gully is this man who you are seeing in a coat suit and tie as a CEO of this company. That boy is this man. Saha balakaha ayam purushaha. So that is method of implication. Now, when you say that boy is this man and that boy are not equal in size, height, color, looks, everything. In knowledge, in behavior, in the quality of the clothes, everything has changed. So many differences are there, but yet it is the same person. Saha ayam ityadi vakyastha padayoho iva na apara, as not other, but only the same. In sentences that thou art. The method of implication, which involves partial elimination alone, is to be applied. You have to remove partially something, as in sentences like, he is that person, he is this person, and not any other. This is a method. That Brahman is this individual. In this, there is a so I am Devadattaha. That boy you saw in Gujarat is this Devadatta in Tamil Nadu. We negate the attributes of time and place, present and past, and taking into account of only the person himself. We art. We negate the conflicting attributes. This man is a small player. That Ishvara is a big player in the global world, in the universal world. He is able to do everything. That thou art. So such are the differences in their qualities and in the nature of their work. But yet, they are one and the same. Like that, Devadatta is this person you see. Omniscience, limited knowledge which characterize Ishvara and Jiva and take into account only the immutable consciousness. In that Devadatta small boy, that consciousness was there. In this CEO, well-dressed man, the same consciousness is there. Since the literal meaning of the Tattvamasi is not possible, we have to explore its implied meaning. When I say Tattvamasi, that Ishvara you are, immediately we'll write off the statement because we can't take it so easily. We can't accept it that we are that God. So we just can write it off. But here, there are three ways of culling out the implied meanings. One is Jahat Lakshana, the other is Ajahat Lakshana, and the third is Jagat Ajahal Lakshana or Bhagat Tyaga Lakshana. Jagat Lakshana is called Tyaga Lakshana. The literal meaning is given up, a new meaning is understood. The village is on the river, Gangayam Goshaha, or the building is on the river, the palace is on the river, Gangayam Goshaha. The literal meaning is it's a floating palace in the river. That is also possible. But there are no floating palaces in Ganga. So, when you go expecting a palace to be floating on Ganga, when you listen to this, you will be disappointed. When you are disappointed, you will try to understand its implied meaning. What is the implied meaning? This is the palace on the banks of Ganga. This is Jahat Lakshana or Tyaga Lakshana. You give up the literal meaning of a palace floating in Ganga and you take the implied meaning of the palace is on the banks of Ganga. It's simple. Ajahal Lakshana, the literal meaning is not given up, but something more is added to give complete meaning to the sentence. Watch the white run. White is running. In a horse race, horses betting is happening. Shono Davati, red is running, one person says. Or Shveto Davati, white is running, the other person says. Can white color run? White color will not run. Yet, this white color seems to be running. The horse that seems to be running, white color. And he's saying, see, white is running. The horse in the white color is running. In the direct meaning, literal meaning also, the white color is taken. And in the implied meaning, The horse aspect is taken and understood. So there were many goats crossing the road when a director's car was just passing. He's a director in a department in the university. His car was passing. This is a real joke. Really, it was said by that person. It's a very famous thing. And many goats were crossing the road. This man is saying, muttons are running, stop the car. So he's seeing the final end result of it. Watch the white run. It is not mutton running, it is the goat from which the mutton is got is running. Watch the white run. The white color cannot run. Mutton cannot run because it is inert, but the goat which has the meat for the mutton is running. He obviously means a white horse ran. The white horse was added to the direct literal meaning. We will come home late and we will get scolded by our parents. And I told you, he went abroad to study. I studied in the village. And now, in our school reunion party, it is that Devadatta we are seeing him now. That Devadatta was a thin, scrawny fellow. This Devadatta is fat and bald. And recognizing Devadatta, the difference of size and hair were discarded, and the essential qualities like the mole on the chin and the name Devadatta were retained and introduced to his wife. So this is called Bhaga Tyaga Lakshana. One part of it, which causes all the differences, is given up, and whatever is unifying is taken in both. In the Mahavakya, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art, the meaning is understood by Bhaga Tyaga Lakshana. Here the contradictory aspects of the sentence are dropped. The locus of both, as in the case of Devadatta, is recognized as one. The individual and the total conditionings are dropped, and the locus, which is existence, consciousness, is realized. And when the remoteness of God and the finitude of the individual is removed, the realization, I am the infinite truth, takes place. The inner self, Aparoksha Atma, and the infinite God are essentially one. That infinite God which is everywhere, Paroksha, the inner self, Aparoksha Atma, are one and the same. This verse, it talks of the relationship of the words that and thou, tat, tvam, that is you. Samsargo va vishishto vam vakyartho natra sammatah akhandaikara satvena vakyartho vidusham matah. Samsargaha, in association, or va vishishtaha, mutual qualification, va or vakyartaha, the meaning of the statement. Na atra sammataha, it is not acceptable at all in any ways. Akhanda eka rasatvena, as being that one homogeneous consciousness, vakyartaha, the meaning of the statement, vidusham mataha, as per the wise people, that one part alone is acceptable. Everything else is not the same. As per the wise, the relationship between that and thou, the common factor of consciousness, existence, is what should be taken as a complete identity of absolute homogeneity, and that of association or mutual qualification. Association, this is connected with that, or this qualifies that, and this person benefits because of that, that person benefits because of this. No, such kind of association is not acceptable. Only the fact that their existence and consciousness is acceptable. Samsarga Vyakyartha. In the sentence, bring the cow, the words are connected and the relationship between them is understood. Bring cow. bring cow. They are connected. The relationship is there. Some people claim that primary connection between the individual and God is there are many connections. Tat iva tvam asi. You are like God. Tat iva, like that you are. Tena tvam asi. Because of that you are. Tasmai tvam asi. You are for him. Tasmat tvam asi. You are from him. Tasya tvam asi. You are his and he belongs to you. He loves you as his own. You are also very special to him. Tasmin tvam asi. You are in him and he is in you. Like a wave in the ocean, and the ocean is also in the wave. The wave and the ocean are one and the same. He is the infinite whole and you are the finite part. These thoughts are not wrong from the relative standpoint, but Vedanta does not take in all these. They are only relative. These connections are relative. What is the main connection? Visishta Vakyartha, in the words blue lotus, each word qualifies the other. The blueness qualifies a lotus, and the lotus qualifies what is blue. What lotus? Blue lotus. What blueness? Lotus blueness. Some people claim that you are God means you are divine in nature. The divinity of God is your quality. This meaning is accepted by Vedanta only in a relative level. Aikya Vakyartha. In this sentence, he is Devadatta. The relationship between he and Devadatta is of total oneness. He is not like Devadatta. He is not with Devadatta. He is not from Devadatta. He is not because of Devadatta. He is not belonging to Devadatta, but he is Devadatta. He is not a quality of Devadatta or vice versa. Similarly, in the Mahavakya, the meaning is to be understood with total oneness. That is this, that thou art. You are that. That is you. Tat tvam asi. You are not like that. You are not with that. You are not because of that. You are not from that. You are not belonging to that. You are that. Identical twins look the same, but they have differences and they are two separate entities. Here, the word that and you indicate the same entity. They are not referring to two entities. Tat, this is a very important thing. Tat is that. Ishvara, Brahman, Tvam is you, the individual. That is you does not refer to two different things or two different qualities, mutually dependent on each other, belonging to each other, coming from each other, standing on each other, but they are the same. Tattvam Asi. So this verse talks about the oneness of ourselves and God. Pratyakbodhoya abhati sodvayananda lakshanaha advayananda rupascha pratyakbodhaika lakshanaha pratyakbodhaha yaha abhati. Inner consciousness, that which appears, saha advayananda lakshanaha. That is advaya, non-dual bliss. There is no part bliss and part sorrow, nothing. Non-dual. Advayananda rupascha. This consciousness, which is of the nature of non-duality, form of non-duality, pratyak bodha eka lakshanaha. This alone is that inner consciousness. When I say that consciousness in me is everywhere, it is one and the same we are talking about. We are not talking about two connected things or two different things related to each other or things functioning because of each other qualifying each other. We are talking about the one and the same person. Like Soyam Devadattaha. So I am consciousness. That consciousness of Ishvara is this consciousness that you are. You are and he are one and the same. When we realize this, all finitude will vanish. What is the use of this thought? Every thought has got a use. Every thought brings a feeling in us. What is the feeling this thought brings in us? We think I am the body and we feel limited. Then we think I am the body in which there is consciousness. But then we realize we are not a body having consciousness, but we are consciousness having a body, and the consciousness is infinite and the self of all beings. This consciousness is the supreme self, and that consciousness you are. That consciousness I am. Tat Tvam Asi. That you are, not any different. We will continue tomorrow. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaham, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kasyit Dukkha Bhavet. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasorma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Mritam Gamaya, Om Purnamadav Purnamidam, Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. हर नमः पार्वती पतये. हर हर महादेवा. हरि ओम.